Hi, everyone. This is Jimmy Midyett, and I will be the content director of the Florida Justice Technology Center, and I'll be working there along with Joyce Raby. And it is my pleasure today to uh, do this quick demo along with our guests, and they are Vince Morris, who is the director of the Arkansas Legal Services Partnership. I got that right. And also we have with us Victor Richardson, who's the associate director of the partnership. So, on behalf of Joyce and I, and on behalf of the technology subcommittee of our newly formed Access to Justice Commission, Vince, go ahead and take it away.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate having the opportunity to talk to y'all folks out in Florida, and sounds like y'all are lucky and got some good talent out that way with Joyce and Jimmy. So we're just going to give a very quick overview of some of our what we call justice technologies that we've been working on in Arkansas for a little over a decade now, and if there's any other questions or follow-up, please feel free to contact myself or Victor if you'd like a more in-depth discussion of our justice technologies. The primary vehicle of our entire justice technology program is the statewide website. Extremely critical. That's where people come. I believe that we have the most trafficked legal website in Arkansas. Keep in mind, Arkansas is about 3 million in population, so a little bit different dynamic than in Florida. So some of the numbers might not seem very large to you, but I think we're doing a pretty good job. We are the Arkansas Legal Services Partnership. You can see from your screen that we are nestled in between two legal aid programs. Consolidations right around the new millennium resulted in two legal aid programs in Arkansas. And they are our primary source of funding. We receive subgrants from a subgrant from each of them, totaling a little over $100,000 a year. And then our second largest funding source are LSC TIG awards. And we just recently got notice that we may have been invited for another one. So that will equal 22 total TIG awards that we received throughout the years, coming up to just shy of $1 million in funding. So we are very thankful of that support, and it's been critical for the movement here in Arkansas. So that's a little outlay about how our organization fits together. We provide statewide support and where our funding comes from. Insofar as the grants, we write, manage, perform, report on the grants. Some of the technologies we were going to demo today, definitely the automated document technology. It's been one of the most critical, and I think has the biggest, broadest impact here in Arkansas. Of course, Jimmy and I were just talking about how a lot of these technologies intertwine, and of course, they all lead into each other. So I threw up a few others. We are based on a Drupal system for our statewide website. Not to get too tech speak there, it just means it's open source, which means we can go in and do anything that we want to do very quickly. Not anything we want to do, anything we can achieve, think of and do. So, and plus it's free. So that's a great cost-saving measure, and it's very scalable, and there's a large support community. Other projects that we do that do tie in, and Victor may touch on live help, but we have a live chat service that can function somewhat as a triage and helps get people to the resources they need. Of course, we created a YouTube channel many years ago called LegalTube, and then some other resources. iPro Bono is an iPhone application where pro bono attorneys can take a case on their phone at any time. So we, as ALSP, or the Arkansas Legal Services Partnership, we also function for the statewide pro bono partnership. So we have self-help users come to the website and use these technologies. We have pro bono attorneys that we try to attract and then provide these technologies for their use as well. And then, of course, legal aid staff. So I'm going to get into the automated document technology. So I'm going to switch to our website real quick. We have just under 200 automated forms right now. The majority of those are for advocate use. The ones that we provide for the self-help or pro se use think we have about 25 now, and you can go to our statewide website. And I was going to walk through one of the ones that receives a lot of use. And so the way this works is there's what's called a hot docs backing, which will actually create the form packet in a Microsoft Word document. And then on the front end is a much more user-friendly interview. It's A2J, and it's been provided free to the legal services community. So the user would go here. Well, I'll tell you what, first, maybe the user doesn't know where to go. So I'm going to click on our live chat. And hopefully we have a staff member on there. It looks like it. And I'm going to say, help me. I need divorce information. So you'll see that our staff member, we call them navigators. I do a day, Victor does 2 days, I now think, at least 2, maybe 3. And then we have members of our Access Justice Commission staffing a day apiece on there as well. And you see that Erin's on here today, and she very quickly typed all that. No, she didn't. It's canned content that we write. There is some free flow writing responses that you have to do, but a lot of it is already typed and can simply push a button and it pushes it to the user you're interacting with. So here I could click now on this divorce packet. So I'm going to say thank you, and up there the user of course would then click on both this divorce packet, and then we have some more substantive information in fact sheets and other forms of content. We write to a 5th to 8th grade reading level. We write all our own content, and it can be extremely challenging to write to a 5th grade writing level, but we do our best and try to succeed at most points. My apologies, I was just reading what Erin was writing, and then we won't stall on this anymore. You'll see a disclaimer saying that it is indeed not legal advice, but legal information. And in fact, Erin is not an attorney, which can make things a little more simple at times. So from here, I'm going to click on, now that I was provided this link from our navigator, I looked and make sure that I do not have minor children, not expensive property, a statutory element here, and something for the Civil Service Members Civil Relief Act. I'm good all there, I'll say, and I'll click on that. I already have. We come up on what we call an A2J interview, Access to Justice. And here, let's see, you can add all kinds of pictures, all kinds of interactivity, I believe.
We will help you prepare the forms you need to file for divorce in Arkansas. This divorce interview is for Arkansas couples without minor children.
So you can add MP3s there in English or in other languages, and we do have this in Spanish as well. That voice was mine. I'd recommend getting somebody a little more of a spokesperson. We can walk through this fairly quickly, I'm sorry. The first few screens, you see more audio here, but just gives instructions about how going back and forth, if you make a mistake, you need to go forward. So I'm going to move pretty quickly through here. This is just describing what you're going to get, a personalized instruction packet. You usually hear people when describing this type of resource talk about TurboTax. I just did mine in TurboTax, and that's kind of the concept here. You take information and then it is inserted into the document in the right places, and it can also triage people out, if you will, or screen people out, I guess, if this resource is not right for them. So here we have Johnny Cash is unfortunately getting a divorce. He's a male, so there's Johnny right there, and there's his virtual advocate. And we've lived in Arkansas 60 days. If we said no here, this would be an example of the screening. Johnny, I'm sorry, but you do not qualify. And then give information about how to follow up, maybe with legal aid. If they exited, then they would exit then to information on divorce in Arkansas. But we're going to say yes. I'm going to say no to minor children. And in Arkansas, it's more difficult to get a divorce if your wife is pregnant. We can discuss that later. So I'm going to say no. And this, again, is for the Service Member Civil Relief Act. And then we are jumping into, or again, I guess, looking at qualifications and screening issues. I'm going to say no, I do not have real estate, no pension, and we do not disagree about anything. So this is an uncontested divorce. So any type of disagreement, and then it states what the pleadings will say, that there are no property rights to be adjudicated, and they qualify to use this. And when I first created this, I was really excited. It was about 8 years ago. I think it was a 3L, and I had an exclamation point there, and I realized how inappropriate that was. But here they do qualify, and they get through.
It's like, congratulations.
Again, some more.
You can get divorced.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, you know how you can get happy when a program actually works. So, but I hedged that back some. Here's some legal gobbledygook disclaimer information that is not written to a 5th grade reading level, but felt it was important. And then now we're on the very last series. So very quickly, we've almost completed everything that we've needed to at least get the filings in order to file for a divorce in Arkansas. In Arkansas, you have to have grounds. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to select a ground. So this is a very common one. So I'm going to just select that. And input a little bit more information. There we go. So this is a confirmation page, just making sure you got everything right before we move forward. If they said no, you could go back and correct that. And then we're going to select the date we were married, about New Year's, way back when. And again, just talking about the initial version of this, version 1.0, doing user testing, where were you married? I started to see a lot of uses from, or a lot of responses like on a beach or in a church. So I added the parenthetical to actually get the city and the state. And here, if they didn't know, we could provide yet another packet for a service by publication notice in the newspaper. So we're going to say we know that. Well, Johnny lives on Main Street, as we all know. And I believe we were just 2 questions away from completing this. Actually, just 1. So in Arkansas, you have to bring a witness. Now, they may not know it, so this isn't a required field. But there we are. So we're finished. You've completed the interview. Some instructions about what to do, how to be generated. And so we're going to go ahead and generate that and get that document. So what we have here then is a divorce packet. You can see it's version 3.0, last updated in August, but I have some updates I need to do, so it'll be updated soon. I believe there's about 14 pages in this packet, but it'll vary depending on the user's answers and needs, of course. Here we have it very personalized, saying this is for Mickey Mouse. Whoops, that's the wrong one I did before. Let me pull up what I just did. There we go. My apologies. Here we are. There we go. There's Johnny Cash. And, well, that's a good example, though, how it can be personalized to each individual. The styling of the case, is set the way Arkansas judges would like to see it. It's we do not have a case number yet. That's why there's a blank. But you can see Johnny, June, the language here that they're pro se, the county that they're from, the statutory requirements needed for the pleading, the jurisdictional statements. when they were married, when they were separated. And as you peruse through the document, you'll see that we also have an entry of appearance waiver, so the defendant can just waive it, or there's a second type of service provided. Again, depending on the client's needs, affidavit of service by mail. And then there is the decree itself. Most importantly, I think with all the forms that we automate for the public, though, we provide instructions, and then in some cases, sample court testimony. So here, this has been a big hit with the judges. In fact, sometimes we just hand these out with blanks in the places, but all they have to do is say these magic words now in court, and that is the requirements that they have to lay down, and they know exactly what to say. The judge doesn't have to reach over the bench, if you will. And here's sample testimony for the witness as well.
That's cool, Vince.
Thanks. I think I was the first one to come up with that way back when, and I wasn't even licensed yet, and I was nervous. I was appearing for an uncontested divorce and everything, and so I whipped up what I needed to say, and then I was like, why don't I automate this? And it was a good thing to do. I recommend it. It's a really easy, at this point, you already have all this information.
Right, right.
I did an interview, so you can do a lot of helpful things with it.
That's cool. That makes me think back to when I was first in practice, and every one of my trial books that the same questions. That's cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what I guess I was coming at it from maybe a different perspective, just like you were. And it's like, wow, people have to say the same thing over and over. So, and people keep trial books, right? So, providing that for the pro se, as well as there's some advocate packets as well. I provide certain things you may want to say too. They're actually thankful for that.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Also
about.
Incredibly important though is instructions. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was making more commentary, but go right ahead. You please.
Oh, well, I'm interested in your commentary. But yeah, I'll finish this up real quick. Instructions, again, we try to write to a 5th to 8th grade reading level. Step 1, step 2, where you go. And again, even in the instructions, you can put in that variable information, so it's personalized instructions. And I think that can really help them. We're looking at actually what we're calling, create a lot of fact sheets. We're going to create something we call Smart Facts. We recently got a TIG award for, where the fact sheets that people download are actually personalized them as well, so not just forms. But anyway, so that's an example of a packet. And if you'll notice here too, I put programmed by, and I put my direct information right there. If anybody has an issue, I do get some ProSec. I get a lot of ProSec calls, but not necessarily generated by that. But the reason I do that is if anybody in our Access to Justice Commission or any judge or any clerk can call me if they have an issue with this, and they often do, not so much an issue, but hey, you can tweak this and make it a little better. Of course, you have to be aware of statewide. You want to keep it statewide and not get too specific into a jurisdiction, but I'm completely available. Victor's completely available for any changes. In fact, we just got one today emailed to us, and that's really what makes it, I think, different. One of the reasons it's different from something like another online form, national resources. There is a contact person, and of course it's state specific. So real quickly, and then I want to get on to Victor so he can show you a few things. I wanted to show the benefit of these automated resources. We ran through the divorce packet, and I have been doing this for, it looks like I've been tracking it since 2007. You'll see a table here. And so you'll see that there's interviews and assemblies. And what that means is the interviews is what we just walked through. The assembly is the document assembly, the packet that we just saw. Now, that's going to be a smaller number, as you see, because people will be exited if it's not applicable to them. And then some people probably just don't finish it. And these down here are the rates of how many people actually finish it from starting. Throughout the years, you can see almost a steady increase. 2007, we had 3,000 document assemblies. In 2014, we had 18,000. And again, we're a smaller state, 3 million. But what that breaks down to is out of that divorce packet, it is the biggest use. We had 12,241. These aren't actually, the reason that these are highlighted is not because these were the most used, actually. We did our Clinton School of Public Policy did an economic impact on the forms that you can find in a commercial setting like LegalZoom or Rocket Lawyer or Nolo. And so they only looked at the ones that are comparable, that they sold. And with these, I don't have the exact number, I was looking for it, but in 2014, what we generated was comparable to Victor, you may remember 2.7 or 2.3 million. After it gets a million, I don't really take notice, but that's, if we sold these at the commercial rate, that's what the worth would have been. So that's an extremely important economic value, I think, to Arkansas citizens. And again, little Arkansas, we're always top in the nation, and that's actual, not per capita. So one quick little thing, and then I'll jump back to Victor or take any questions. The way this is, another way it's recently starting to scale is we have 3 court help stations in the 3 largest cities in Arkansas, and both Victor and myself and a member of the commission, 2 days a week, there's one of us there staffing it. And it's become very successful, and the way we do it is we have people there, often on a computer, going through one of these packets and interviews, and then we're helping them, get it filed, get it to court, or if the judge has an issue, they can send them down and we can give them sample testimony or whatever they need. So it's the digital going back into the brick and mortar, which I'm kind of excited about. So that's a very quick overview. Jimmy, is there anything that I might have missed or could cover better?
At all. I think that was very comprehensive, and you weaved in.
Jimmy's still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Vince. You can hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, good. No, you weaved in my questions, very well into your presentation. So I'm gonna switch screens over to Victor and let him see if he can do better.
That's a tall order. All right. Well, thank you for having me on as well. Victor Richardson, Associate Director at the Arkansas Legal Services Partnership. I work for Vince, and I'm going to go over our online intake and triage today, just with a not too long example of one of the exit points that we just set up recently for our online intake system. And what I have pulled up right now is our website, and we've already seen it. I'm logged out, so you see what a patron or anybody, a user across the state or nationally would see when they go to our homepage. And of course, we have all these great forms, the divorce packet on the site. At the same time, we have very prominently, since we're underneath both of these legal aid organizations and supporting them, apply for help, because of course everybody wants somebody to help them do it, and it's more effective for them that way. So oftentimes the way that our website works is people will go and they'll be applying for services, and they'll do it online, in person, or over the phone, and then they'll be directed out to these resources, such as our forms. And that's the way our online intake system works. So I'll run through that. So I'm going to click here and apply online. It's going to bring up this page, information, has our helpline information, call 911 if you're in an immediate danger. And if you click apply now, it'll take you to our online intake, which is through LegalServer. And one of our programs uses LegalServer for case management, and the other one uses KEMPS for case management. LegalServer does the online intake statewide, and then it integrates on the back end to the KEMPS database for the other program. So you read through here, tells you what to expect from the process, about how long it takes, and then again, call in information if you need it. Start the application, and it starts to screen you immediately. So the first thing that you have to do is indicate that you understand the use of the site. If you click yes, you get to continue on. If you click no, it's going to dump you out of the online intake and ask you to call in. Next step, it's going to ask you if you're over 18 years old. Click yes, again, you continue on, you click no, and you get knocked out. Criminal, of course, is the next major question. And then it's going to start to ask me about residency. And this is where we direct people to either program. Currently, the KEMPS module for the online intake is down for maintenance. So right now, the online intake is only working for the counties that one program serves, in terms of taking them completely through the intake process for eligibility screening, and to get a call back from a helpline, the worker at one of the program offices. But there are still mechanisms in here in terms of triage for the people who can't currently do online intake in other counties to go to certain areas of the site for help. I'm going to go to Pulaski County, which is the county that Little Rock is in. That's where we are right now. The next it's going to ask me is the problem related to income tax, a member of household currently a patient at Arkansas Children's Hospital. There are two special programs that Legal Aid of Arkansas has where they'll take cases in the other program's service area, which is the Center for Arkansas Legal Services, even though it's outside of their service area normally. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click no on this and continue. So now I'm going to get dumped out of the process. And it says Legal Aid of Arkansas doesn't serve this county. You can call to talk to the Center for Arkansas Legal Services. Then we have another little note in here that I just dropped in today. You may qualify for an upcoming expungement clinic in Pulaski County. You can visit the website back at this link to learn more. And we just opened this online or expungement clinic up to client registration today. So it's not hyperlinked at the moment. I'm going to fix that. But if you click over here, and I've got the page already pulled up, now we're back on the website to a specific resource, and this is for an expungement clinic that we have coming up. And the website has some screening tools within it to make sure that people qualify for the clinic before it actually allows them to register. So if I click here on the link, Arkansans who need help can do so here. And it's going to start to screen me based on our criminal expungement laws here in Arkansas. And this is through a Drupal form module that's part of our statewide website. Did you complete probation? Yes. Pay all fines and costs? Yes. And I'm going to fly through this because I know the law and then sort of know what they have to click on to qualify. So they were convicted of a felony. They didn't do time in the Department of Corrections. It was a violent felony. However, it was none of the violent felonies that would exclude you from getting a criminal expungement. They don't have more than one previous felony, and 5 years have passed since they completed probation. So you click on next, and this time it's going to come up with an exclamation point that is appropriate. Congratulations, your record might be eligible to be expunged. Here you can click on to go to the sign-up form, or if, for whatever reason they're not available to attend the clinic, then they can be directed to our expungement page. We have our fact sheets and general resources on criminal expungement. So this is that expungement page, an example of our fact sheets and sort of the information that people get directed to on a normal basis, what the divorce page would look like, the guardianship page. It's all very similar. And then here we have just the appointment form for our expungement clinic. And as we have different clinics and special programs going on, the legal server online intake is dynamic enough and easy enough that we can go in there and customize it in just 15 minutes at the start of the day and say for the next month, if somebody answers this question no, then they're going to get directed to this particular resource that might be helpful to them right now. And then after that month's up, we'll have a tickler set up to remind us to go in there and change that back to the normal standard resources that exit point might take them to. And that, in a nutshell, is how our online intake and triage works. Of course, you can go all the way through the online intake and make it through to get a call back from a helpline worker. And there's several exit points, such as income information, case type, so they can get directed to any of the resources on our website, really based upon all those variables. And by doing it in a two-tiered system, it really allows us to be adaptable. And the process for the client, it still takes 10 to 15 minutes to get to the resource they need without ever having to interact with somebody.
Wow, that's great, Victor.
And at that point, I was gonna check for questions.
Okay, no, I don't have any questions specifically. I just want to say that it's a really innovative system, the way that you do have sort of the two tiers and sort of two ways to get help and approach the legal issue. This is really incredible what y'all have been able to do over in Arkansas. I'm very jealous. Very jealous.
Well, thank you. All the credit goes to Vince.
That's good staff work there, Victor. That's good staff work. And well, guys, I very much appreciate your time this today recording this for the folks over here in Florida. We have certainly would benefit from the path that you, especially Vince, have tread over these many years that you have been building and refining this. I think that's one of the things that I like the most about it, is the fact that you have a real iterative process, and you put something out there and let people use it and refine it as you go.
You're on mute, Vince.
Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate you noticing that. In legal aid, it seems like it's always a struggle just to sustain. So I'm lucky when I do get to refine and make something better. But that's what we're all here for, is just trying to make it better, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, guys, again, I do appreciate, so on behalf of me and Joyce, and then ultimately the technology subcommittee of our commission, thank y'all very much for your time today.
Most welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all take care. Bye bye.
Bye.